个就一次都没有做到吧？上班不会有考试，会1、2次都会做。
OK。
今年每一个系都爆多的。
光华现在这么夯吗？
啊？
光华现在这么夯吗？
少说那个研究所。
研究所。
推销。对啊。
那大家都想说偷看啊。
连中央都700多个人去投。
已经很多是上面的下来，然后你们应该都很累。因为上面的也要保底啊，你们也要保底啊。
今年人太多，有可能那个科技业人事冻结，我不太说实。下播以后，
我还在跑。有人上。刚刚好像有都要报了，这里也是。重开一点点。哪里有其他教练啊？
就是第1月的投影片，Chapter 1的影片最后面。
他不是DF还没教完吗？
对啊，那个后面就是那个。
对，也是报哎，我手机也报了，这几天不上学校网站。这个我比他也不上。
Well, that's okay. 没不用考试。That's okay.
要出发了。
我现在好像有没上。
Sorry about the delay. I was trying to connect to the internet system, but the network is not working. But that's fine. Just want to remind you the schedule. We are now in the which week? 6th. Okay. We are now in 6th week. And as I mentioned before, we are going to have a midterm in the next week. Remember that? The midterm. And then, in the 10th week, there's not going to be a class, no class, because of the school sports day. So that's according to the school calendar. There's no class on that day. And we are going to have the final exam the 7th week, according to the school's calendar. The final week, final exam. But since we are missing about 2 hours for the lecture class last week, so I'm going to provide in the 18th week the optional, the makeup class, makeup distance class. On some specific topic about this class. All right? So that's basically the, oh, by the way, the second quiz is going to be 14 weeks. Second quiz. You can also look up the inner system. I did put down this information, okay, on the page. All right, let's get back to the lecture. Today we are going to finish this unit and start this unit on design example. Last time we gave a lecture on how do we design a D-latch. What is D-latch? Just a quick review. D-latch is a memory component that we remember 1 bit. Okay, it's a storage device, storage circuit component that can store, it can set 1 bit value. However, that value is going to be overwritten when the clock signal is a control signal. Clock signal is high. When the clock is high, then the data at the D input will be entering the component and set inside the component, and after some delay, it will show up on the output queue. If clock is low, then no matter what value you have at the D input, it's not going to change the internal value whatsoever, because the clock signal is just like a door. You open the door, the value in the outside can enter the room. Otherwise, the room will keep the old value. So how do we design that kind of circuit? In here we have 2 inverters. Basically, when you connect 2 inverters like this, the output is going to be this input. The output is going to be this input. That's a basic circuit for a latch, remembering 1 bit value. Because it is 1, then 0, and then 1, and 0, and cycle. If 0, then 1, and 0, so it will remember 1 bit value, either 0 or 1. But we want to be able to write into the value, the latch for the value. So we have a 2-to-1 multiplexer. The multiplexer will give you either writing the data into the latch or close the door. It keeps the old value. So when the clock is high, so select this input. So D entering the latch, okay? And this disconnect. When the clock is high. When the clock is low, it disconnect. And it's connect, so it's a cycle here, latch. So that's what we want. Right? And so this value give you Q output value. It can also provide the Q bar. Both output signal can be provided to the outside. And also we can try to so let's say there are more than one way to design a 2-to-1 in multiplexer. And typically we use transmission gate for this D-latch design. This is a very popular design for D-latch. Remember that 2 transmission gates can compose a 2-to-1 multiplexer. Remember that? We talk about here. 2 transmission gate will give you a 2-to-1 multiplexer. Okay. The S is the control signal selection for the section. In the electric design, that's the clock. And D0 and D1 are the 2 input. Only one will get through in the output. So using 2 transmission gates, you can get a 2-to-1 multiplexer. Yeah, this is a 2-to-1 multiplexer. Yeah. When clock is high, it will get through. New is going to be off. When it cuts low, off. It's on, can be through. So that's exactly what we want for the latch. Any question? Sometimes, if you are worried about the driving capability, we hope that the signal is strong enough. Some people might want to add that 2 cascading inverter in the output signal, such that it can drive for more fan out, as I mentioned before. Fan out is determined how high the signal strength. That's about driving capability. The D-latch, that's the operation for D-latch. Either clock is high or low. So in this case, when clock is high, you open the door. The input will get into the latch, goes override the old value. And then, while we still keep clock high, when D goes down, output Q will also goes down. Because it's just like the window. It's just a window. The Q output simply copy the value of D, right? Except that there's a small delay for the response. But when we close the door, the current door, no matter what value for D value, go up or go down, you keep the old value, which is low. When we close the door, at that moment, the last value is Q is 0, so you keep low all the way. So that's the D-latch operation. Another component is D flip-flop. D flip-flop, like D-latch, you can remember one bit value, either 0 or 1. However, the operation is different. For D flip-flop, when clock rises, goes up, we are looking at the transition point. We're looking at the moment, the instant, when signal from low to high or high to low, depending on your design. Some circuit using rising edge from low to high. Some circuit using falling edge from high to low. Either rising edge or falling edge. Or falling edge from clock. Then we can change the value in the flip-flop. In this case, it's a rising edge. For falling edge, there will be a bubble here, indicating the falling edge trigger D flip-flop. All right? Bubble means negative edge. So, as I said, the D flip-flop can remember one bit value, but it only change the value when the clock, in this case, rising edge. When clock goes high, we look at the D input, which is high at that moment, at that instance, so Q will go high after some small delay. After that, although clock keeping high and D fluctuate, it's not going to affect the value of the D flip flop. You keep the value you just sample, keep high, 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 until clock goes low. It doesn't matter. We only look at the moment when clock right edge. At that moment again, look at the D which is low, so Q will become low after some small delay. So that's the behavior, that's the operation of D flip flop. In how do we design D flip flop? Well, it's easy, because that's simply cascade two latch in here. We also call that master slave flip flop. Okay? Because there's a master latch in first stage. The slave latch in the second stage. When the clock signal low, high, high, low. So when clock is low, D will get through. Okay? When clock is high, D gets through here and here. When clock is low, D will get through, and clock will be high. When clock is low, then clock bar will be high. So D will get through. And disconnect, get through. So the step latch keeping the previous value. And for the master stage, the value at the outside will get through. Affect only the first stage. When clock change from low to high, clock bar will be low. In this case, the value will go to the second stage, and here is disconnect, disconnect. So Q value will reflect the new value just get it in. Okay? So that's why we design like this. It's a latch, and clock signal goes here, clock bar goes here. The first half, D get into the first latch. The second half, the value will get toward the second stage. You can look at this figure for the operation. When clock is low, disconnect. So D will get through. And it disconnect. So it will only get through in here, but cannot reach the second stage. The second stage will keep it the old value. Okay. When clock is high, disconnect, connect. So the value in the first stage will get through to the second stage, and also keeping this value here. Right? And like this, all the way. So if you look at the waveform, when clock goes high again, here, the value of D is high. So high signal 1 will get to here in this stage. Okay? I'm sorry, when clock is low, disconnect. When disconnect, so D will get through. This value will get to the first stage, but it's not going to reflect on the second stage, which is Q. Only the first stage. And then, when clock goes high, it will get through to the second stage, and it disconnect. So that's why Q goes up. in that way for the following behavior. Okay, any question? And remember that the D value can change all the time, but when the clock transition from low to high, that's the instant you look at the last value you get. You only look at this value when it goes up. Okay? You only look at the value when the clock goes up. Right here. Any question? D latch and D flip-flop are everywhere in digital circuit design, especially D flip-flop. D flip-flop is very, very common, very popular in circuit design, digital circuit design nowadays in industry. However, you still have to consider some problems. One of the problems is risk condition. You should try to avoid risk condition. What is risk condition? Back-to-back flip-flop or simply flop can malfunction from class Q. What is class Q? Class Q means that the clock signal connect to many, many components, many flip-flop. When we design the circuit, we assume that the wire has no delay, or almost no delay. However, in reality, especially for high advanced circuit design, advanced manufacturing process, like 7 nanometer, like 3 nanometer, 2 nanometer, the very high-end chip, the clock signal propagate across all the chip, and you cannot ignore the wire delay. If there's wire delay, it means that the clock signal will reach these two flip-flop in different time, right? They are not going to arrive really at the same time. No way, because wire is delayed. And if this is the source, this flip-flop is going to be a little bit far away, all right, compared to this flip-flop. Meaning, clock 1 will arrive a little bit before clock 2 signal when it transition. So that's why you can see that clock 2 goes up a little bit later than clock 1. And that is going to cause some problem for your design. Why is that? Why we could have problem if the clock signal arrive not at the same time. There might be some difference in terms of the delay because the wire are not the same length. So what's the problem here? Okay, this problem is called risk condition. It means that if clock 1 arrives before clock 2, so the value will be entering the first flip-flop, right? And then we assume that Q1 will get a new value after some small delay. Assume that that delay is very small. So new value will appear here and reach at the input of the second flip-flop immediately. It's very short wire. And then clock 2 arrive after Q1 new value arrive. And then the second flip-flop will capture the new value. And then after some small delay, it will show up on Q2. That's not correct because from a circuit design, this is not what we want. What you want is that if the value here 0, 1, 0, after clock arrive, assume that clock signal arrive at the same time. The correct operation should be like what? You should shooting bit. One will go through here. It become 0, 1. That's the correct response. That's the correct operation after the clock signal arrive. Alright? Just like shift register. Shift 1 bit, 1 bit, 1 bit. Every clock cycle, the value advance 1 stage. Advance 1 stage. Alright? However, because of the clock skew problem, let's say clock skew means that the clock signal arrive at different times. So, in this case, when clock 1 arrive, 0 will override. Okay? And then clock 2 arrive a little bit later. So, you'll get through and become 0 again. This is not how we want. The correct one should be like this. In other words, if there's a clock skew problem, we have a circuit like this. It could be happening that the input not only advance one stage, but it will get through 2 stages altogether. And that's not correct. Okay? We call that race condition. So the correct operation should be like this. It's about whole time failure or race condition. For whole time failure, what is whole time? Another term is setup time. Let me try to explain. Let's try to open another page. Try to explain what is setup time. Setup. The other one is hold time. You look at the data sheet or the menu for some circuit component. They will provide what is the setup time, what is the hold time. Okay? For the timing chart, timing diagram. By start time, we mean that it is a register or flip-flop. The input, the clock, is Q output. Start time means that in order for the flip-flop to operate correctly, the D input data should arrive before the clock age, at least some amount of time. That is called setup time. Okay, let me repeat it. By setup time, we mean that the input should arrive and then stable. You cannot change again. It should reach the input before the clock age, at least so much time. Before that, fine, but no later than that. Otherwise, we do not guarantee that you will capture the correct value. So if you look at the timing in the clock, the data could be low, could be high. This is named like symbol, meaning it could be low, could be high. Doesn't matter. But at some point in time, you have to stable. the D input should arrive or should become stable here. Before that, it doesn't matter. Go up, go down. We don't care. But at least you should be arrived no later here. Okay? Before the clock goes high, the clock edge. And the minimum amount of time here is called setup time. In other words, you should set up the input before clock edge arrive. You call that setup time. You can just like the analogy in daily life. In a company, the manager will be working on some stuff, and the secretary should arrive before the manager arrives in the office. At least maybe half an hour before that. That's called setup time. Okay, let me repeat it. It's just like in a company, the secretary should arrive before or should try to prepare the data, the document for the manager before the manager arrives, maybe at least half an hour before that. We call that setup time. Okay? And the other one is hold time. What is hold time? Hold time means that when clock edge arrives, you should not change your D input value right away. No, you should try to keep it right there. Try to make the value still there after some certain amount of time, which is called hold time. Hold time. Okay, the input should arrive before the clock edge, at least so much time, set time. The input after clock edge arrive, then it should still there, holding the value. You cannot change that immediately. You should at least hold the value, keep the value, at least so much time. After that, it doesn't matter. You can go up, go down, anyway, it doesn't matter. But at least you should keep it right there, so much time. It's called hold time. It is not enough hold time. I do not guarantee that, we do not guarantee that you can get the correct Q value based on the input. So two conditions, both setup time and hold time should be meet the requirement. Okay? These should arrive before this point of time. The input should disappear or change the value at least after that hold time point, fine, but should not change before the hold time point. And based on that, you can go back and look at the circuit again. So what's the problem here? Because there's not enough hold time. Why? Because clock 1 arrive first. Okay. So D gets through to Q. And clock 2 goes up a little bit later. Before clock 2 goes up, the input has already arrived in here. And the old value of Q1, 0, 1, 0. Before the clock goes out, 0, 1, 0. That's the value. This flip-flop keeping 1. This flip-flop keeping 0. 0 is the new value of the input for this flip-flop. When the clock goes out, 0 will get through. And after some delay, it's going to override the value 1. And that's a problem because clock 2 goes up, the old value 1 is not keeping the value long enough. It's not enough whole time, such that 1 will not get into this flip-flop correctly and change the output. Okay. That's why we call that whole time failure, because the original value 1 signal here, when presumably clock 2 goes down, this 1 will go to the output of some delay. But because of this new value, too soon to get to the input and train the value such that it's not enough whole time. So this flip-flop failed to produce the correct value in the output. We call that whole time failure or risk condition. So how do we solve the problem? Even it's possible that clock signal can arrive at different time, a little bit later than clock 1 or clock 2. So how do you solve the whole time failure here? What do you think? Okay, the idea is that we try to insert delay between the two stages, between the two flip-flop or two register. In many circuit design, there could be some conventional circuit, and that probably enough, should be enough. If there's no other circuit, there's no delay, the wire simply connect to the next stage. They could have whole time failure. In that case, try to insert delay between the two stages. Like it's a buffer, just simply adding delay. Or you can have maybe 2 inverters, or even 4 inverter, 6 inverter, 8 inverter. Even number of inverter will provide delay. If 2 are not enough, give it 4 inverter cascading, so forth. Until you have enough whole time. Because when you add delay here, the new value 0 goes through, it will not change the old value of this, which is 1, because there are no more delay here, such that this flip-flop can have enough whole time. Let me repeat it. If you have no worry about whole time failure, adding delay between the two stages, if there's no conventional circuit, fine, adding 2 or 4 or 6 inverters, such that the new value update the flip-flop here, it will not reach the input on this second flip-flop too soon, such that destroy the whole time. Okay, that's a very popular problem in industry design the circuit. Any question? Fine. Okay, question? 一个它是 inverter 就只是改变的嘛，零变一，一变零。我们要留出它的值，那你就可以用2个或4个或6个，偶数个的话就可以。事实上，也有所谓的 buffer 电路，就是一个三角形，它就不会改变它的零跟一的值，这样也可以。
那这个图有 C R time 的 value 吗？
这个怎样？
有 C R time 的 value 吗
？Okay. In this figure, show the whole time failure. Is it? 你认为呢
？Clock 问题。这第二个吧，这第二个有吧？
这个图有所谓的 whole time failure 吗？Is there whole time failure in this figure here? Okay, here, clock 1 goes up, and Q1 change value, and clock goes up, Q2 actually value. We are not sure. It doesn't say anything about photon failure. It could be, but it may be not. We don't know. 看不出来它有没有 photon failure， 它是一个行为的 timing 的顺序，但是要看它有没有所谓的 photon failure， 还要再看 Q2 是不是能够抓到它正确的值，看有没有足够的 photon。我的意思就是说，你 Q2 这个上来比它来的要慢一点点。那因为你第一 input 看到先上去，所以 D 会改变这边的值，原本是1的值被改成0。可事实上 Q2 还没到之前，我的1就已经被改成0了。那你原本要让1过去了，就根本抓不到1的值了。它没有足够的时间给它流过去。那如果你加上很多delay 的时候呢，因为0 update 了，它会上去0改成在 output 端变成0的时间，它呢不会马上传递到这边来，因为它需要经过 delay。可这 delay 在讯号还没有到这边来之前，它已经抓到它的值拿过去了，已经有足够的后端给它了。这样懂我意思吗？What I'm saying that the reason why we insert delay here because to avoid photon failure. When clock 1 goes up, 0 gets through, update the value from 1 to 0. If there's no delay here, the original signal 1 has been overwritten before clock 2 goes up. Or maybe it's before clock 2, it's after clock 2 goes up, but you did not give it enough whole time. Again, you cannot get the correct value. No matter what, if there's no delay here, the new value 0 goes through, it will reach the input and the input of this flip-flop. And that will override the value 1. And clock 2 will arrive, you capture the wrong value, which is 0, because the correct value should be 1. The signal 1 disappears. Right? Okay, any other question? Actually, in many design, maybe you don't have to worry about silicon whole time. Like here, if there are some circuit here that like N gate, O gate community circuit or either community circuit, that provide enough delay. So you don't have to worry about whole time. But in this case, you connect the output directly to the input. That will cause a problem because the value will get to the input here immediately, right? That's why we have photon failure because of class Q. And class 2 is a little bit later, and the value is already overwritten. Because the value well. Okay, any other question? Okay, let me repeat it. This setup time, the whole time. Any flip-flop, you should meet the setup time and whole time requirement. Meaning, the data input, the value should arrive earlier than this point. And this point is to provide enough setup time. Could be a little bit earlier, fine, but cannot be later than this point of time. Because if your data input is stable later than this point of time, then you don't have enough setup time. Likewise, or the other issue is when the clock edge arrives, you should have to still keep the data input, the data value right there. You should not change the value immediately. And it should be whole time. After that point, fine, you can have any new value. But you should not change the value before the whole time limit here, because we should have enough whole time. Otherwise, you cannot, you are not guaranteed that you can get a correct value for the flip flop. Okay, let's take a break.
这下是第一个后台飞入。
后台可以。
对啊，比较低。
这个就是后台。
I will keep a handwriting and update the
所以到底
lecture
上
file
课
in
讲
the
后台
system,
飞入
right?
还是随台？
他刚刚讲的，上课讲的。
那他刚刚讲到底是这个到底是后台 value 还是 C 台 value？我刚刚不是在问 C 台 value？
你是不知道差别是什么？是不知道后台跟 C 台的差别。
简单老师说，最好是直接在讲了后台 value 跟 C 台 value 的例子嘛，分开讲。
这个应该是后台 value，因为你记得 risk condition 是什么吗？
这不会是代指吗？
就是一个变数，你 write 跟 read 的时间不一样。
同时啊。
对啊。
对啊。
所以它这个就是它先 write， 还没有 read 就先 write， 所以就有 risk condition。
read before write。
对啊。这个中间这个是 Q1 是一个变，想的是一个变数，还没有 read， 然后就被第一个 flip flop。
就我看刚刚那个老师的两页笔记太快了，还是哭了。
哪两页笔记？
就是那个后台学有让我画了。
这个。
没有，那是正常。哦 risk condition 在下一页。但是 condition 在哪里？哪里找到的？
上面就有啊。这个啊。
可以了。哦，可以了。
这个。后面写什么？
这个刚刚是讲 C 菜吧？一开始是讲 C 菜飞入吧？是在讲 C 菜飞入还是后台飞入？
不知道差别是什么，我感觉像是一样的东西。
不是不一样，不一样。
就是看的角度不一样。
过了一个，结果我自己也不知道问题的答案。这是 C 菜飞入吧？这个是 C 菜飞入。然后刚刚就讲说后台飞入不知道有没有。对啦。后台飞入就是上次、下次，就是你的这个后台飞入就是你这边这个下来的，你的第一个讯号在为什么画了？你会画完之后再把它倒回去，就会打到这里。我换个颜色。这个就是你的讯号在这边就下去。后台飞入。
那个是set up time 这里。如果在这边前面变的话，前面是 set up time。
知道 cap 在这边 ，cap 在这边。 这样子的话就是后台飞率吧，因为这样子是切菜飞率不是吗？因为这样子是切菜飞率啊，因为你这边0变1的时候，你这边0变1的时候，它的讯号在改变啊。你的 clock 在0变1的时候，它这边讯号在改变啊。你没有给它一个稳定的讯号。假如说我现在是这一条，这样上来的时候，那你如果要切开飞流的话，你要提早。如果你是后台飞流的话，那是晚嘛。
就是现在不是，就是说你 clock 的时候。
C 态是你的低的讯号要比 clock 早输出，然后 hold 态是低的讯号要比 clock 输出更长，对吧？低的 hold 态，C 态这个，我都先倒车好了，不要让你倒车再来。就是 C 态是低的讯号，要比 clock 早输出，这段。hold 态的话是低要比 clock 输出更长。
对啊。
所以反之的话，就是如果你的低的讯号比 clock 晚输出的话，就是 C 态飞流不是吗？
对啊。
所以低的讯号比 clock 晚输出的话，低的讯号是吧？
这是 Q1。上面有低啊。
Q 不是代表低吗
？Q 在这里 ，Q1 在这里，Q 在这里。
这不是代表低吗？
没有低会有另外一个讯号。
这不是低。
这个 Q1 是经过第一个 flip up 之后出来的讯号。
不行，好。
就像是这个是 IDEX1，然后 ME2这样，这是 ID 的讯号传过来，存在这里嘛，就是传到 EX1运算，就传到下一个 state。所以这 Q1 是 EX1里面的讯号。然后这个 clock 是要让clock 是要让 ID 的讯号过来，clock 1是要让 ID 的讯号可以传进来。你的那个 setup 跟 hold time 是对，这理解。
是我逻辑的问题。
理解是对的。
对。
只是你看错了，这个讯号是 Q1。
所以我越看越迷茫。
所以你看这条线对下来。
它的 clock 到底是要看那个区间是不是？
哪个地方？
因为它给的范例是一个直条线。那我现在是要抓 clock 的终点，还是抓它0到1的那个区段？抓0到1的区段。
我觉得应该是要再多抓一点。
因为我说 clock 的区段呢。太难了。
应该是长这样子。所以他看就是你说中间是哪里是这个？你是说中间是哪里吗？ 刚才在想这两个time是不是一样长？不是都是因为那个线路 delay 的关系吗？
哎，我现在没办法回答你问题。
我刚才想问他要算。
问呢？
因为他说事实上不会有这种情况，就是
他已经会处理好。
通常都是暂存器中间会有组合电路，就会有足够的 delay。
就是那个什么 IDEX
对啊，那个是组合电路。那个什么燕的也没来啊。
戴先生，我真的记得他名字。大家都不来啊！大家都不来啊！